Hi there, this is Catherine. Thanks you for listening to my SEO Tips micro podcast. So, before we get into today's SEO tip, I just wanted to share with you the ways you can support the podcast if you're enjoying all the tips and finding them useful. So, you can send me a donation at buymeacoffee.com/Catherine W. Ong, O-N-G, and that's Catherine with a K. Any and all levels of donation are appreciated. It will help me offset the cost of producing the podcast. So, that's buymeacoffee.com/Katherinewong. I'd also encourage you to subscribe to our email list to make sure you're not missing any future episodes or any other news about the SEO Tips podcast. And to do that, you'd go to wostrategies.com/newsletter. Okay, on with today's tip.
Hello, thanks for listening to SEO Tips today. So today's tip is actually a technical tip, and actually there's 3 tips in this one episode. And it's based on some behavior that I saw on a website that I was checking out yesterday. So here's the gist of the problem. Googlebot does not accept cookies. It doesn't execute JavaScript, it doesn't fill in form fields. And I actually created a persona for Googlebot that you can find on my website that outlines what Googlebot can and cannot crawl on your website and how it acts, just FYI. But coming back to the issue, here's a quote from John Mueller related to Googlebot accepting cookies. Quote, Googlebot does not accept a cookie. So I wouldn't be able to say, well, I'll accept it now, and the next time I crawl your website, you just show me your content normally. Googlebot would not be able to return that cookie to you and say, I agree with your terms of service. Because on this website I'm looking at, back to the issue at hand, they have Googlebot hitting the root URL, and then that root URL executes a redirect chain that's more than 5 redirects, and then it lands on a URL that has this dynamic element indicating that the bot has accepted a cookie. And to make it even more complicated, on that URL, the one that has the dynamic element on it, it has a canonical tag pointing back to the root URL, the one without the dynamic element. So basically this website is telling Googlebot, don't index the URL you're on with the dynamic element on the end. Instead, please index the root URL that makes you go through more than 5 redirects that you won't be able to follow. Now, the canonical tag is a hint, not a directive. So that's not the biggest issue. The bigger issue is the fact that this site is executing more than 5 redirects for every URL it wants to be indexed. And ultimately, none of the URLs that I found so far on this site will be indexed. So here are the 3 tips related to this one issue I found. 1. Remember that Googlebot does not go past 5 redirects in a redirect chain. This means you should stay on top of however many redirects have been created for particular URLs and make sure they're less than that number. 2, Googlebot does not accept cookies, so don't set up your website where Googlebot is forced to accept cookies. And 3, be careful of your canonical tags and make sure your canonical tag actually points to the root URL that you want to be indexed by Google, and that URL should be a URL Googlebot can get to. Thanks for listening today. Come back tomorrow for more SEO tips.